Greetings, and welcome back to another installment of Hidden Harms right here on the Be Better Network. I am your gracious host of the show, Universal Jones, also known as Brennan Jones. But in today's episode, we're going to get into where people pray. Where people pray. This is the sixth installment of the Hidden Harm series as we take a deeper dive and a look into one of the quiet phenomenons that takes place all across the world, which is child sexual abuse. It is unfortunate, but it is a reality that we can no longer ignore. Um, over the last five episodes, what we've attempted to do is look at patterns, people, places, and the ripple effect of what takes place when this happens. And we've stumbled across a few things. One, kindness is a tool, it is a weapon that these folks use. Two, this is a international global system, unfortunately. Three, it's happening right under our noses. Whether we want to be honest about it or not, it is taking place. So we're going to continue on that and we're going to look at where these folks pray on today's episode. I am going to be joined by my co-host, but before I get started, I'm going to open up with my monologue. So again, thank you for coming back to another installment. And this is your first time here, make sure you catch the previous episodes and also make sure you share this with someone you care about, whether you're a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, uncle. If you care about children, this is a series that you should talk about, and this is a topic that you should not be afraid of. So on today's series, we are going to dive into it. Now, in earlier episodes, we've talked about who predators are, we talked about the psychology behind it, and we talked about the patterns. But today, we're going to ask a different question. We're going to ask, where does this actually happen? Because one of the biggest myths about sexual abuse is that it happens in the dark, unfamiliar places, and that are random, that are rare, but that's not necessarily true. That is, and they oftentimes think that is also committed by strangers, people who are hiding in the shadows. No, a lot of this happens with people you know or people you become friendly with, and then they take advantage of you and they harm you. The data tells a different story. Most abuse doesn't begin with unfamiliar spaces. It begins in places that feel safe, like home, school, churches, youth programs, locker rooms, online platforms, family gatherings, and other trusted environments. That is what makes it hard to confront because it's happening right in front of our faces, right under our noses, and a lot of us don't even realize what's going on. Abuse thrives where there is access, where there is authority, where there is privacy without accountability, and where their loyalty and silence protects repetition over protection. Right. So again, these things happen over and over and over. Instead of protecting young people, these things happen over and over and over because we want to think about how we are viewed and how this may shun or this may bring a negative viewpoint on a community, a family, an individual, rather than protecting the innocence of a young person. So I'm going to bring in my friend here in a moment, Lionel Suggs. We have him here today, and we're going to examine the environments where harm is most likely to occur, not to create fear, not to create suspicion, but to continue to create awareness. Because prevention is not about paranoia, but some of the information we share with you today will make you paranoid. It will give you some anxiety. It will make you cautious, and that's good. That means that you're listening, you're connecting dots, and hopefully you'll be making steps to protect the young people in your life. So it's all about understanding the risk. If we don't talk about it honestly, about the settings, we keep repeating the same mistake, assuming that danger only exists somewhere else. But the harm often happens close to home. So today, we're gonna go and unpack the environment and create opportunity, the power dynamics that allow this to happen, and the cultural habits that make it easy for abuse to stay hidden. This is about clarity, this is about protection, and this is about making sure awareness lives in the same place where harm often does. So let's get into it. I'm gonna bring to the stage my good man, my good friend, Lionel Suggs. How you doing today, Lionel?
Happy Sunday, man.
Happy
Feeling
Sunday.
good,
We're
dude.
here yet again. yet again. How you doing, man? What's going on in your life before we dive into this tough topic? It's not easy to talk about. Before we dive in, how you doing?
I want to fire my whole night shift.
You can get it off your chest real quick. What
No,
what are they not doing right?
they slow, man. They super slow. They want to do the bare minimum. These are grown men.
Damn.
They
And
and so it's the daytime people too. They got to go also.
it's fire the whole organization just needs a revamp.
Just it needs a whole reboot at this point, man. It is sad.
It is sad, man. That's a whole nother series and conversation is the decline in work ethic, the decline, well, in masculinity. I think that plays a role in it too. But we do have, I honestly think that these you can connect both of these points. We have a different type of society that does not champion hard work like it probably should because we've made life so easy and people are lazy now. And the pandemic just made it worse, honestly. But anyway, that's a whole nother soapbox. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Just to kind of open, what are your thoughts on the environments where we find these abusers?
If you've been watching this series, you know that the stranger danger narrative is a distraction. Statistically, for the last 3 decades, 90% of the harm happens in one place: the home. The uncle, the neighbor, the friend, the parent. It is the crime of physical proximity. However, in 2026, the geography of harm has changed because the predator is no longer limited by how far he can drive or who he knows at the local church. And this is why we're telling people, this is why we're telling you, your child is sitting in the bedroom at 10 p.m. The doors are locked. The alarm is set. You think they are in safe harbor. But if they have a phone in their hand, they are actually standing in the middle of the most dangerous intersection in the world. And that's because in the last year alone, we've seen a 77% rise in online incitement. We've seen AI exploitation skyrocket by over 6,000%. And when I say that, these are people generating sexual abuse images of children, sharing it, downloading it, absolutely generating it. We've been calling the predators tacticians, and these tacticians have colonized the digital space. They're not waiting for your child to walk outside. They are invited into your child's pocket every time a notification rings. So we're not talking about physical locations anymore. We're talking about territory. We're talking about the apps, the servers, the safe institutions where these master assassins are setting up shop. Because in 2026, if you're only looking out the front window to protect your kids, you have lost the battle. That hunt is happening on screen. You're on mute.
Yeah. I'm just listening. Good morning to Urban. Welcome to the show, sir. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. Yeah, I think we have been conditioned, especially over the last, I'll say 40 to 50 years,
Yeah.
to look at stranger danger, right?
Mhm.
You know, I don't remember if there was this stream or another one, but I remember referencing the Atlanta child murders and how that created this national kind of panic. There were some other ones too, some abductions, but that was big because remember, CNN kind of like, I don't want to say it started. We're not old enough to even remember that, but we were like shit, we weren't even born yet. But from what I've read, that kind of helped kicked off a little bit of the national news thing. I know OJ made it even like a bigger phenomenon, but the Atlanta child murders was a big thing, and it put a lot of fear into a lot of parents. And then the latchkey kid dynamic started to shift a little bit, and we started to see just like this paranoia around stranger danger. And that has taken a whole new concept and level to where we are today,
Yeah.
where we have online engagement. Something that me and you talked about offline is just like these games that are have accessible things like Roblox, which I had to get rid of from my I had to take that away from my kids like 2 or 3 years ago, because it was just like it was bad then, and I didn't even know they had a chat feature on there. I thought they were just playing games until I realized when I one day I went into my oldest daughter's like inbox, and there's just messages from randoms. I don't know, some of them could have been sexual, some of them couldn't. It was literally she had more messages in her Roblox chat than I probably had in my whole phone history. Man, it's just unbelievable. And she don't know what the hell half that stuff is, so she ain't responding to nobody. But it's just unchecked messages. But it just lets you know how persistent these people are with hurting and harming people. So, but continue on, sir.
Yeah, that we are in the digital frontier right now, the global playground. A question was asked many episodes ago and in real life. It was asked essentially, okay, where does this happen at? And when I brought up certain places, they thought, well, it couldn't possibly happen here. Well, if your child has a phone, it can happen anywhere now.
Hmm.
Access is literally global now.
Hmm.
And the gaming environments, they're the most high risk area currently. They use trust building phases. They offer digital gifts, loops, game currencies to groom the children. Like Discord, Snapchat, WhatsApp. Statistically, they're the top three recruitment platforms. And why? Because the predators can delete the messages or make encrypted ones. So they make it detection harder for parents.
Hmm.
Like, and then of course, like I mentioned earlier, we got the deep fake situation where they're using AI to make sexual abuse material. Or they're simulating explicit chats, and you don't even need to contact the victim.
What does that mean?
They're basically creating sexual chats, stuff that could get blocked one way, but they're using different systems to make. I'm trying not to get too graphic, but they're basically saying this 50-year-old is talking about how he wants to do all types of things to the 6-year-old, and they're leaving it, they're doing it without a trace. Or they're making conversations with the person and pretending that that person is is replying to them, is having a whole conversation that's sexual. So they're creating a fantasy with just chats.
Wow.
That is, again, this is the digital frontier. But I don't want you to take that away either. I want you to hold that and parallel it to the physical hotspots now, because this is when exploitation moves from online to offline. Now we're entering trafficking because they're using specific locations that are serving as primary hubs. You got
Hmm.
your hotels and motels, you got your transportation hubs, and of course, you have the businesses, which we played in the other episode with the Florida situation with the
Right.
massage
The
parlors.
massage parlors. Yeah, yeah.
But they tell you that statistically, the majority of these acts that are related to trafficking does happen in hotel rooms. But again, it happens in a lot of different places. So, and then you have the in plain sight situation, because recent data is literally showing that children are often victimized in places where they're supposed to be supervised. Like, unfortunately, special education and group homes. Children with intellectual or developmental disabilities, They are targeted at a 3.5 times higher rate than the average child. They are targeted in group homes or by school bus aides, sports camps, religious organizations, community theater groups. They are high risk because the shield of credibility. And that's because of the perpetrators, the predators, public persona. And it automatically prevents adults from questioning their behavior. This is, unfortunately, the playground that it's at, because that's how they look at it. It's a playground to them. You're on mute.
I keep forgetting I'm muted. So, do you want to roll what clip do you want to start off with, or what link should we start off with to get the conversation going?
Before we say that, I gotta highlight this because this is something that gets overlooked.
All right, go for
Right
it.
now, they're telling us that 1 in 3 boys aged 9 to 12 are now reporting more harmful online sexual interactions. This age group is being targeted more aggressively than teenagers because they seem the most vulnerable.
Say that again. What's the age range?
9 to 12.
So, boys 9 to 12 are being targeted more at the current moment because they're more vulnerable.
Yeah.
So that means if you assume that the games that 9 to 12-year-old boys are playing, if they have interactions and chats, that predators are probably in those spaces.
Not even probably. They are most
They are.
likely.
They are. Right. Mm.
There's one in our link. I tagged you. It'll be February 14th. Funny. And that's the one. It says, I literally tell you, this is the one where we need to start it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me find it. Yep. All right. I hope I don't have to log into Instagram. Let's see. Nope, we're good. All right, so we'll bring this clip up here. And let's give some shout outs while I bring it up. Hey, Blue Jays, good to see you. Thanks for coming on by. Make sure you sub and subscribe. Concorso Mom, good to see you as well. CCM. We have Napstar in the building. Welcome, Napstar. He's already getting people out of here. Don't start messing with Moxie. Moxie doesn't play no games. Salute to Moxie. Salute to Urban and salute to BD. Welcome, everybody, to the show. All right, we're going to pull up a clip here. Whoops. And Lionel, you let me know when you want me to stop it or how many times you want to play it. Just lead the way.
I got you.
I'm going to restart it, though, real quick.
Their entire worthless family sexually abused these 2 little girls. Yep, 6 members from the same damn family were sentenced last week for sexually abusing the 2 female children. So it's January 2025, and the older of the 2 girls, who all we know is somewhere between 13 and 16, has a freaking mental breakdown at school and tells her teacher she's being sexually abused at home. So the Sussex police are called in, and they ask this little girl, who at home is doing this to you? The little girl says, my dad, both my brothers, my grandpa, my uncle, and even my piece of crap mother is a part of it. So police pull this girl's little sister out of class, who all we know about her is that she's under the age of 13, and she confirms the same thing is happening to her. Police then question the family, who of course denies everything and privately threatens to beat the absolute crap out of these little girls if they don't recant their story. Side note, it blows my mind that allegations like this could present And yet, still, these children must stay under the same roof as these monsters while police investigate. It's literally insane. Anyways, they go to court and all of them are convicted. 44-year-old dad is sentenced to 28 years in prison. 70-year-old grandpa sentenced to 9 years in prison. 24-year-old brother, who's already serving a prison sentence, gets an extra 3.5 years. The 21-year-old brother receives a 9.5 year sentence. The 49-year-old uncle gets 3 years in prison for perverting the course of justice. And the 43-year-old POS mother gets 10.5 years for the same charge, perverting the course of justice. I pray these two little girls are able to get the help that they most certainly need, and they can somehow go on and lead a fulfilling life.
So I just got to point out, when the little one had mentioned this, they tell you statistically most children do not have the language to describe what's happening to them.
Correct.
And so when they're getting gaslit and being told, basically tell them that this didn't happen, despite the fact that one of them had a full-blown psychotic breakdown, look where it came from. Home.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you think a family like this, because although this is very extreme, 6 members
Mhm.
are involved in abusing these 2 little girls, how do you think something like that gets started? From what have you heard? I know you've assisted and you've done some social work with a lot of abuse victims. How does this like? And let me give some context to why I'm asking this question. While
Yep.
you so there were 2 brothers. The father, I forgot the other family member. The grandfather, well, that might be one of the areas right there
Mhm.
involved in this, right? So this is a multi-generational thing.
Yep.
Um, how do you think that got created? How does that happen?
I almost wanted to say this started with the grandpa. But when they said that the mom was involved, that's what I'm pointing to.
Why are you singling out the why are you singling out the mother? And while you think about that, the woman who's speaking on this in the clip, she kind of I feel like she had more smoke for the mom too.
And that
But
and
why?
he was right for that. Again, I'm not going to say it for facts, but this goes into the halo effect I brought up the other episode. We're conditioned to look at women and they're the sweet, they're kind, they're innocent, they're soft, and that creates that blind spot. But I know from firsthand that these women orchestrate these situations. When it's happening like this, there is a high probability that the woman is the ringleader behind it.
Mm.
And I, just off experience, it was the mom. She's the one that started this.
Maybe that's a area to look into.
Because,
Is
because
the
remember, and that's why I brought up last episode the halo effect, because you automatically create this mentality of what a woman is, but yet she has fundamentally unrestricted the most access to the children. And that will create a paradox in your head that creates a blind spot in your head. So you're not actually looking that direction. That's what makes it so much easier for them to do it. But when they are involved directly, 9 times out of 10, they're the ringleader.
Mm. Fascinating, and probably abuse victims themselves at some point as well. But yeah, wow, wow. So so with the halo effect and even this kind of thought process, do you feel like like women need to be held more accountable for some of the sexual abuse that happens. Just
That's it.
period. Not
I
even
want to so I want to tell you yes off rip, but at the same time, that's if you find out about it though. They're more kept in the dark than what the men are.
interesting.
If the father is bending over his son or his daughter and having his way with his 6-year-old child, the mom most likely knows. There, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's a universal, but the mom is allowing it until proven otherwise.
Hmm.
But I want to put that in the head automatically because the minute we sit here and be like, "Oh, she didn't know" or whatnot, once again, you're creating a blind spot.
Hmm. Interesting. Just grabbing some comments. Blue Jay says that's disgusting. I think they investigate first to prevent too many false allegations, though. That's terrible. From CCM. That's terrible to have your innocence stolen like that. Happened to me when I was little. People in custody battles lie a bit. If the child says, and that's different, and then they talk kids into lying to, which is too devastating to trust normalcy. And then the following show brings awareness to the deviants. Okay, he's just giving a little description. Thank you, Urban. Yep, groom the whole family. You know, man, that's how and I don't know if we talked about this online or not, but it was when I was growing up, I would always hear, and even like I remember watching like Comic View. You remember Comic View and BT?
I do.
They would make the jokes about don't go sit on that uncle's lap, don't go do that. Like that that notion of we know what the truth is, we know this abuse happens,
Yep.
but we're not gonna actively keep our children safe around it. We're gonna passively do it. Just don't stay around them too long, or don't go down in the basement by yourself and stuff like that. Now, I didn't really have that in my family. I always had some suspicions about some people, mostly men, but I never seen that. And then as I got older, there were things that did come out that people were abused in my family. I would have never known because it wasn't the people that they were assumed that I would have assumed would have been the abusers or we should watch out for, or somebody completely different. But I think there's a lot of families with this passive attention towards the abusers and their families. So there's this complacency that takes place, and there's a level of protection as well for these individuals. Is that common? Have you seen that in these family or home-like settings where there's this passiveness? What's been your experience working with people who've been abused?
That's absolutely what the situation is.
Mm.
That, that's absolutely what it is at this point. Um, Unfortunately, you know what? I got to flip this real quick
Yep,
because
go for it.
when we're talking about this, we are in a level of hyperscale grooming current.
What does
Because
that mean?
I got you. So, like
Yep.
in the 90s, grooming could take months of physical interaction, rubbing on you, other things. But in 2026, the FBI is warning that predators can build enough trust to coerce a child into self harm, sexual acts in under 24 hours of online messaging.
Wow. So instant access. Get right to it.
Because that's where we're at. We're at the global playground right now. That is the territory that we're in. Because the physical backyard has been replaced by the global online playground.
Mm.
Last year alone, in the first 6 months, the NCMEC saw a 56% jump in online enticement reports, basically 500,000 cases,
Mm.
meaning that these predators were grooming these children into self-harm or sexual acts.
Mm.
And again, I can bring up the home factor, but the fact is, if they have a phone, just like that.
Sure. Sure.
because they don't have to lure the child physically anymore. They can use AI to create deepfakes, use school photos, social media to blackmail, extort.
Mm. I meet a lot of parents that are scared of AI. They're scared of the technology. They don't understand it. Half of their life they grew up without it. They use it for only work purposes or whatever. So I think they don't realize the harm that is at literally at their children's fingertips at any given moment. Do you have any suggestions for parents and caregivers uh, to help them build their awareness around the dangers that are right there on those apps that their children are using?
I mean, first things first, like they have to have a high alert world view before anything.
Okay.
Like, I mean, you got to be talking to your child regardless and telling them, I mean, pull them to the side today. If anyone, no matter who they are, makes you feel weird, asks you to keep a secret, gotta let them know you're not in trouble. I'm always on your team. Even if you already sent the photo or did something you regret,
Hmm.
because you automatically got to break the shame tactic. Also, it's depending on how old they are,
Hmm.
but then you have to start teaching them, to spot red flags of grooming. If someone's telling you, "Hey, you're more mature," ask them to come to a different platform. You know, be aware of that. Create some emergency code, things like that as well. But you have to be having a high alert worldview, and you gotta talk to the child. You can't just say, "Yeah, I talked to my child about if she's been touched or whatnot, or if he's been touched one time." Nah, you got to have these conversations a lot. This ain't no one time thing. And that's what you have to do. You have to literally build that trust. The reason that all these people can get away with this is because the children don't trust their parents.
Right.
The parents haven't established that. And you have plenty of parents who think that they know better until they don't.
Mm. Yeah. Mm.
And as of right now, like in the current landscape, even locking your child's door or locking a house door, it's useless if the child has a phone in their room.
That's a good point, right? Like we look at physical safety as containing the physical location they're in, not the virtual the virtual level, the access that they can have to be harmed. That's a good point. Interesting. What are your thoughts on the nature that someone's always looking? And I ask this because there have been some conversations in these circles that have been pretty disturbing over the last 2 weeks since our last episode. I'll say it that way. And a few of the e-girls that we know have been in the midst of some heated conversations about people being attracted to young kids. Sorry, let me say it directly. Men being attracted to younger women
Yeah,
under 18. Under 18. And there's been this accountability question of, well, she's 16 years old, she should know better. She should know what she knows what she's doing at 16. And I caught some smoke because I said, no matter if she knows what she's doing or not, it's still on that adult male to not be a predator and
exactly.
engage in sex with that person. And you'll be surprised, Lionel. They're trying to get your boy UJ up out of here. I
I
got
would,
called.
I get it.
I got called all kind of names, bro. I got called all kind of names. I was like, wow. And and these were some of the guys. These were people that are on panels. These are people that people trust and know and think like they're good. And I'm just like, bro, absolutely not. Like I have a daughter she's not 16 yet, but she ain't too far from it. And there's no way in hell that if her or one of her friends was trying to talk to some adult dude, that I'm gonna be like, she's in the wrong. No, no. and you can't justify it by saying, well, some of these girls look older and etc. And I say that because we're gonna play that clip. I wanted to tune that up because even in the chat, CCM said, her person was a babysitter, but it didn't happen at home. And I think that there are other trusted spaces that this stuff happens to young people, but especially young girls.
There are. Yeah.
And one of the examples that these men were defending was the woman who was telling her story. She had said it happened on a family vacation. It was like a vacation spot. This is supposed to be a trusted area. It's somewhere she's been before. It's beach, it's fun, yada yada yada. And all of a sudden, she trails away to hang out with some friends and ends up in a location that is like highly the probability of something bad happening was extremely high. Drugs, alcohol, strangers, right? And it's like that's what ends up happening. You're on family vacation, everything's going well, and you're like, hey, so and so's here this weekend. Can we go hang out over here? Next thing you know, boom, you're in a tough situation. So I kind of cue all that up to give some context that all spaces and places
Yes.
are opportunities for predators. I don't think that there is a safe space unless it's your own home and you have a very good, clear dynamic between you and your spouse and your family, and this is something that you're actively engaging in. But any thoughts on that before I roll the next clip?
No, I absolutely agree with you. I'm curious to see the clip.
All right, so the next clip we're going to bring up is about young women and their development. So here's the clip. Matter of fact, let me move us out the way.
We've talked about getting big titties young. You and
We
I
have.
and it's like when you get big titties young, you're like, oh, like
You're so
adults
sexualized. Yeah.
want to fuck kids.
Yes. I guess I had a bit of insomnia when I was growing up. Like, I would think before bed, like the whole day of things that people have said to me and things I
Yes.
could have said back.
Totally.
Whether it's men on the
yes.
street,
Me too.
or guys,
Me too.
boys, or
Teachers.
Yeah. Now, before we wrote the show, me and you had a small conversation about this clip.
Mhm.
And I shared with you, like, dude, I'm right here. I have a 13-year-old and she's developing like her mother, and her mom's got has a pretty big chest. My 13-year-old is probably a C cup already. And I haven't even got to the point of thinking about who's looking at her because I don't look at her like that. I mean, but I'm like, holy shit! Like I'm gonna have to start like paying attention, especially coming into this summer. I'm gonna have to pay attention. And my daughter, my oldest daughter, she kind of has this like athleisure, like femme tomboy kind of aesthetic. Like she'll wear the hoodies and the pants and all that shit. But she's developing where it doesn't matter how baggy her hoodie is, you're gonna see that she has a chest on her.
Yep.
And it's like, holy fuck. Like, I have to start paying attention. Like, if we go to the grocery store or Target or something, like, who's staring at her? And what is being said to her, or what, from what I can tell. And we're going to have conversations about who's saying what. And I know she's not going to want to talk to me about that stuff, but it's probably important that she does. So it's interesting. And we didn't grow up as girls. I don't know I know what I've said to girls when I was younger, but I don't know what men say to young girls as they operate within the world. But what are your thoughts on that clip?
I agree with them. Again, personal experience. That was one of the reasons my mom had to drop out of school at 12 because the male teachers was trying to assault her. They saw a woman who had a big rack and they was trying to flirt with her.
Mm-hmm.
She had to drop out. But she did try to go to another school, only for the male teachers to try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it was like, nope. Gotta, my sister, I watched her develop, and we've literally watched guys staring at her. And she's like 13.
Yeah.
But this dude literally old hair, like you can tell he was in his 60s. I had my mom literally go across the street, cuss him out. Because we saw that he was staring at her.
So
And
Oh, good. I was gonna ask about your mom. So she realized that she's seen him gawking, looking, and she approached him. How did you view this interaction? Like, how did that go down?
I was actually at work.
Okay.
Like, she had called me when it happened because my sister was behind her, and you could see the dude literally just standing there staring at her. And I was like, "Nah, man, you got to confront this dude right now." And she
Hmm.
marched across the street and cussed him out.
Hmm.
And because again, she was just taking initiative. I'm on the phone, so I'm hearing the whole altercation. But you see this in real time, in real life, like how you was just talking. These guys are gonna look at these girls, and again, sometimes it's not even about the body; it's just about the age. She can look like she belongs in the sixth grade, but if she says she's 18, fair game. That's how these guys talk.
Well, okay. And that's reminding me of another thing. We didn't prep this part for the show. The little Tay,
Yeah,
the that bad baby.
maybe. Yup.
There was another girl that I had seen. It was a white girl who she just turned 18 and
Yeah,
made it wasn't, I don't think it was over $1 million, but she made a lot of money
I know one that just made over
because
$1 million too.
like that. And that gets into that level of attraction what you're talking about, where you're like, it's not about the physical nature of looking like a woman and maturing to look like an older woman. They like the little kid look, period. Like
Yeah,
they're into that little kid, because all those girls look like they look younger than they are. Like
yeah,
little Tay looks like she's like 11 years old in a weird way.
yeah. They look
Yeah,
young. They look like they belong in junior high. But
yeah,
yet, the guys are feeding them money because they want to see provocative pictures of them.
yeah,
Just telling them all the things they want to do.
yeah. It's sick, man. I don't know. It's there's something I don't know what I would. I need to do some research into what is the different like brain connectivity for someone who's attracted to children, because I think that there is a cognitive defect there. I think that there's some sort of way that their brain works that gives them a sexual attraction to children. Um, and I don't know what it is, and I'm pretty sure in my because I'm in a PhD program right now, I have a level of access where I could probably get some older stuff, because a lot of the new stuff is not gonna they're gonna sugarcoat it and not really get to the true nature of why these people are the way that they are.
But look at
Um,
what is happening also. These
right.
girls, they can just have a platform, something simple as X, something as simple as Instagram, and then you have all these different guys targeting them, preying on them.
Hmm.
So once again, I mean, all they need is a phone. It's the same thing. All the guys need is a phone.
Hmm.
Now that they have a picture of you, they can literally just screenshot it, save it to their phone. Now we can deep fake it or just use the picture you got. And once again, that's how easy it is. That's
Hmm.
what's going. And then you have parents who want to put, they want to share a family photo of their children. They want to share their child. I'm so happy of my 6-year-old. She graduated. She won this award. Meanwhile, you got 100 dudes looking like, oh hell yeah, she look yummy.
And
And
you
now
don't
they
even.
and now they about to screenshot that picture.
Yeah, that creeps me out, man. Because people every year we do this ritual every year. The kid's birthday, they might graduate from anywhere from elementary school, middle school, high school. The first day of school pictures, the last day of school pictures. Your child wins some award. You want to show that you want to see your family to see you want to be celebrated, and all you know is somebody could be like, you know what, oh, congratulations, or you had a beautiful family, but at the same time they're preying on your child, or they're thinking about it, they're at least thinking about it. That's sick. Damn. Yeah. That makes me think too, like, one of the things that we were doing in some of our data collection is we'll share like news clips and stuff. And when you have these big busts of people, and they start reporting like this person had, 3 terabytes worth of child videos and photos. It's like, where the hell are they getting all this shit from? Like, there's a lot of material out there, and it's being produced at a pretty accelerated rate because these people have a lot of stuff. Remember when they caught Jared from Subway? He
Mm-hmm.
that was
Oh,
one of the ones that I was just like, holy shit, because he had I don't remember what year that was, 2011 or something. He had a lot of material because I
yep.
remember they were like he had like 53 terabytes of like child pornography. I was like, holy shit! Like, how do you even store all that? But that's the level of sickness that's going on with these people. What's up, Gary? And what's up, John? Welcome to the show. Um, any thoughts on that? Because again, where they pray, we know they're online, we know they're in homes, they're in other spaces, churches, schools, etc. But like, what about this phenomenon of like collecting these things? I think that's a part of it as well. Is this like trophies? Is this like fucking? I don't just like
It's
any other collection someone will have. I'm trying to understand this because I really think there's something wrong.
it's fat material.
Say more about that. What does that mean?
FAP, jerking off material.
Oh, fact. Oh, they
Yeah,
said fact
yeah,
material.
that's what it is.
So they're collecting it like a normal gooner would just collect porn.
That's
These people are
exactly what I was trying to say.
all right.
They're collecting it like gooners. Yes.
Jesus. All right. I'm gonna look up the Jared thing. Just get my facts straight.
But let me also bring up now that there is a digital to physical learning situation that people have to be aware of. And when we're talking about the digital playground, we have seen an online surge increase nearly tenfold in just 1 year. In the first 6 months of 2024, there are almost 6,000 reports of scenarios where kids were lured online into a physical situation and where they were abused. In the first half of 2025, that number skyrocketed to over 60,000. Well, that went from 6,000 to over 60,000. And then they could link that approximately 88% of the child sex trafficking reports involve children who were groomed or recruited through the internet. But people are constantly tell you, these are small numbers. It doesn't really happen. Um, no, the danger is very real.
Yeah, this is insane. All right. Just to fact check myself here. Let me pull this up. Damn. So the Jared Subway piece is this is insane. I almost got the damn my memory's good. I almost got the damn time frame spot on too. He was caught doing sexual stuff in 2011. He got arrested a little bit afterwards. But yeah, this was crazy. And again, this highlights that what we're going to talk about the next episode, this global phenomenon and how much travel and stuff takes place in this. But um here goes. Mr. Fogel had admitted in court pleading to the receive child pornography involving multiple minors living in Indiana and other countries over the course of several years. His child pornography crime began when he learned about the alleged co-conspirator Russell Taylor was sexually exploiting a 14-year-old girl in March of 2011. At this time, Mr. Fogel did nothing to stop the abuse or report it to authorities, and chose instead to receive and repeatedly view the pornographic material involving the girl. Those other minors produced his alleged co-conspirator in the years that followed. In total, Mr. Fogel admitted in court, pleading to file pleading to filed today that his actions caused a sexual victimization totaling of 12 minors in Indiana before his co-conspirator arrested in April 2015. He preyed on minor victims who did not have the ability to protect themselves. Now this is interesting. Now these folks were in Indiana, the state. They victimized a total of 12 women, 12 kids. We don't know if they're girls or not. Actually, I shouldn't even say women. 12 kids between 2011 to when they got arrested in April of 2015. So that's 4 years. That's pretty. If you do average, 3 kids a year, right? That we know of, right? That we know of. Now, that to me seems like a lot and not a lot of time. And again, my question here comes to how does Mr. Fogel get in contact with the co-conspirator Russell Taylor? Where did these two meet? Probably online, realizing that they're in the same area, and now they're tag teaming to cause harm to these children.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So these predators, they will form teams and groups to do this. Again, this is an ecosystem at this point. There's money involved. There's communication involved. There's technology involved now, as we just talked about. This abuse hits a whole nother level when we look at this. Any other thoughts on this? Because I don't.
No.
I'm not trying to go back to this.
You said it all.
Man, I just remember I was hoping to find. I remember I was so just like, holy shit, that's a lot of data. When I remember when that happened, and I was just like, that's a lot of fucking data, dude. Like that's like, where do you? I don't want to say where you get it because I don't know. I don't want to know, honestly. But the level to keep all that and to hold it and possess it is just disgusting. I think that you got to be a sick person. I think you got to be a sick person. All right. What do you want to go to next? What do you want to go to next? I kind of went off course too.
Pick a video now.
We could do the Roblox video. I got that one queued up.
Okay.
It's a little longer, so we might not play the whole thing, but we'll show it. Here we go.
Are you familiar with this new thing that's going on? This Roblox?
Roblox.
Roblox.
We've got Roblox, which is a insanely popular gaming platform, specifically marketed to children as young as 5 years old. The characters in these different games look like Lego characters, and it's a platform where you can go to play games. It's a platform where you can create a game and put it on there. And it's been around about 15 years. We've been working on an investigation for about 6-8 months now at True Blue, my streaming crime network. And what we've uncovered is shocking. And there's been a lot of reporting about this too. And the company has claimed that they're making security advances. But what was going on historically is that predators knew and know all these children are there. And they can go to different games and rooms and meet children. And they can give them Roblox currency, Robux, and induce them into doing all kinds of things, unknowingly creating child pornography, getting them to do stuff to their children. And it's so rampant. In one county in Florida, in Marion County, Florida, there was a case where a young man was arrested for exploiting at least a dozen children on Roblox. And in the same county, a 10-year-old girl was victimized by a predator on Roblox who was operating from the UK. So this is just in one little county in Florida. And it's going on everywhere. I interviewed a guy who's 30 years old, and he was exploited on Roblox 15 years ago. And he's a former Marine. This guy can deadlift 200 or 607 pounds. Excuse me, 716 pounds. And he was brought to tears talking about how he was groomed and exploited by somebody on Roblox. And so, you know, Roblox, which has been on a PR offensive, they did a New York Times podcast the other day, and it was disastrous.
And
I'm trying to get them to sit down and talk to me. So far, they've refused. They don't want to answer my questions.
In 2024, they made $3.6 billion
Yes.
in revenue. How do they make their money?
They make their money through a lot of different ways, but they people go on there. There's obviously advertising, and there's licensing fees, and all kinds of different things that people have access to there. And when you use Robux and there's a transaction, they take 35%. So there is a scenario where if somebody paid a child for child porn or paid someone for child porn, and they did it with Roblox would get a 35% VIG on that transaction.
Robux, which is the currency.
Correct.
And Roblox is the company. Where are they out of?
San Mateo, California.
Oh, so they're local boys.
Yeah.
And you said they did a sit down with
the New York Times podcast, and they, in other words, I've been in discussions with them for months now, and I had a Roblox press person tell me, I'm not gonna put my guy out there with you because you've obviously interviewed this young guy named Michael Schlepp, who's been a advocate.
The Marine.
No. This is another
Someone
guy.
else.
This is a young man, 22-year-old. He's wildly popular on social media. In fact, we did a Roblox panel at CrimeCon earlier this year in Denver. And the Schlepp kid, went to Roblox and said, look, this is going on. Let me be a part of the solution. He ended up catching a bunch of predators. What did Roblox do? They banned him from the site, as opposed to saying, you could be our emissary and help us do this. So they told me, because I interviewed Michael Schlepp and because I interviewed the Attorney General for the state of Louisiana, which has sued Roblox, along with 3 other attorneys general, including the one in Florida, which has launched a criminal probe. So this is getting very serious now. They said, well, no, it's a hit piece. We're not going to do it. So now I'm in the position where I've got to consider a spontaneous interview with a representative of the company.
Is that sort of waiting in the parking lot?
Maybe.
Would you like some sweet tea and Toll House cookies?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the clip so far? We're about halfway through. The Schlepp person, Napstar, says he's a part of the investigation. We should check him out. Any thoughts on this so far?
Oh, wait. How are the comments looking? Do I need to answer something?
There's no direct question.
Okay.
Blue Jay threw some questions in there, but I think that was on the last topic. But nothing direct. Nothing direct.
Wait, what did she ask? The Blue Jay. I know Blue she asked.
Let's see.
I'm not gonna forget this one.
No, we're good. She says, is the reporting more accessible? And has the prosecution probability increased is the second question.
No, the probability of prosecution has not increased, actually. Reporting is the same as it's always been, at least if you go back to 1995. But no, prosecution is roughly still the same. And that goes into Department of Justice stats. So the predators are still allowed to essentially walk free and do their thing.
Wow, this is interesting. Do you want to check out the Schlepp thing? Because I found a couple shorts on it.
But as for this, before we go into that, like
Yeah, go ahead.
When we're talking about this and Roblox, it is one of the most significant digital preying grounds right now. It is one of the biggest digital playgrounds. And they have almost 400 million monthly users as of last year. And it is a primary target for methodical tacticians. And we know that in 2023 alone, 13,000 incidents of child exploitation was reported. And then when they added a new tool, Sentinel, in 2025, they was able to flag over 1,000 additional potential exploitation attempts.
Mm.
So it is definitely active.
Yeah. Blue Jay says a 2023 study by the Cybercrime Research Center, the CRC, found
Yeah.
that 56% of predators identified and arrested within 1 month of the crime, with 28% taking 3 to 6 months.
Now, I want you to pay attention to that and what they're saying, though, because we still have unfortunately, there's a 90% ratio of underreporting. And with that situation, you also have to go into whether it's just in this country or if it's overall.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, I mean, again, don't wrong, it's important data, but they're literally telling you the percentage of how many that's actually really getting caught. Because again, we just did a whole video where they did a whole sting for 3 years, and
Yeah.
they caught 5 people.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But the 5 people they caught were just some of the people that was organizing everything.
Yeah.
They didn't go into all the people that was involved in that, which we know was well over hundreds.
Yeah.
And so you have the data, unfortunately, you actually have to take this and you have to spread it out. Again, that's unfortunate because it's going to show you just how deep this stuff goes.
Mm-hmm.
And how little is actually being done. But a lot is attempting to get done because they're trying to make sure they actually get a conviction. Because if we just arrest it and be like, yo, they did it, they getting off.
Right.
That's just ultimately what's about to happen.
Wow. Blue Jay mentioned, that she's attempting to find better stats.
That's good.
And right now, she's trying to figure out the percentage of children that are contacted online. Are there any resources or areas that you would suggest for the audience to check out to find more information about online predator behavior?
Definitely. I mean, the FBI is constantly talking about it. Real talk, Department of Justice. You can go there as well. Definitely look to where they're going. The NCMEC, look them up. They are also reporting this as well. We actually should put some links at the bottom.
Yeah, I'll try to grab them and put them in there. Put them in the description. Okay.
But I mean, I definitely recommend y'all just take time, look it up yourself, like on some real talk. It is important, especially if you have kids, especially if you want to be alert, if you want to try to raise awareness for other parents who may not have their mindset isn't on it, who doesn't have the awareness. I mean, spread it out. Like, y'all have data you want to bring to us, throw it at us.
Yeah. Salute to Funny. Thanks for coming by. Funny is funny. I don't know if they're friend or foe, but we'll find out. Thanks for subbing and coming by. It's funny. Urban says, according to the Department of Justice, unwanted sexual solicitation, about 1 in 5 children per year, which is equivalent to 20%, receive unwanted sexual solicitation online. That is, man, that's crazy. And I'll be honest with you, man. Both my oldest daughters, they have their own iPads, and they had Roblox for a long time, bro, before I even knew the dangers of it. And I kind of tripped up on it on accident. When like I told you, I was just checking, doing what parents do, make sure there's nothing crazy going on. And I realized there was a chat feature on Roblox and like a messaging area. and just seen all those messages, and I was like, oh hell no, like we ain't doing this no more. Um, but I mean, thank God my kids they are not fucking engaging in those conversations. And if she was and just was smart enough to delete them, who knew? I wouldn't have known that either. But I didn't see anything inappropriate for the most part. So it's interesting, man, because I think a lot of parents just have no idea. They have no idea what, and if they don't have the parental thing set up on those tablets and those phones, their kids can download any app that they want. So you gotta be paying attention. All right, you want to keep rolling the clip here, or you want to transition to the guy they're talking about? What feels best?
Go ahead. Go to the other one.
Go to the other one. All right. So we'll bring up the guy that they're talking about. Schlepp. It looks like there's an interesting dynamic happening here where he was a part of the investigation, but he also is now being investigated. Where did that clip go? I had a clip. Oh man, they changed it. Here, I'll bring up this woman's.
Roblox is a billion-dollar online playground and creative sandbox with about 400 million active monthly users. About 40% of those users are under the age of 13. The YouTuber Schlepp earned a following in the millions by pretending to be a little kid and honey trapping child predators in the game, and then exposing them on his channel to catch a predator style. The interactions moved to different sites such as Instagram, Discord, and Snapchat, and eventually the predators agreed to meet up in real life, resulting in sting videos that Schlepp posts online for his 1.4 million followers. But on August 9th, Schlepp tweeted that he'd been banned from Roblox. He posted a cease and desist letter he says was sent by the company, claiming that he violated its terms of service by engaging in simulated child endangerment conversations, sharing or soliciting personally identifiable information, and directing users to move conversations off platform. It threatened to sue him for breach of contract and violating the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act if he ever accessed the platform again. The CFAA is primarily a criminal statute, but it does allow for civil lawsuits against people who access computer networks without permission. On the company's site, Roblox's chief safety officer, Matt Kaufman, explained the decision to boot vigilantes off the platform. He says it's because they were impersonating children and actively seeking to connect with adult users. Those conversations mimicked inappropriate behavior and actively encouraged other users to connect on social media and messaging platforms, thus bypassing Roblox's own safety systems. Basically, they say that vigilantes like Schlepp normalize this banned behavior by wandering around the website, engaging in it. And before you ask, no, that's not entrapment. Entrapment is when the government induces you to commit a crime, not some hyper-caffeinated keyboard warrior.
Now, sorry to interrupt, but if you want a great lawyer, my law firm, the Eagle Team, can.
All right. Salute to the Eagle Team. Wow. So this is one of those moral things, what's right versus what's policy. So this guy uses the platform to go after the predators, misuses the platform and his technique to get to the predators, ends up being sued and not the predators. That's very interesting. What are your thoughts on that? Wow. I didn't even know about this slut person. I didn't know nothing about this. Pretty big YouTuber too.
That makes sense. Give me a second.
All right, I'll let you process that. Well, he's processing that. Another thing that I'll pitch to the audience, and for those who are watching later, feel free to share your perspective in the comments area. What are your thoughts on this kind of genre of YouTube, I guess social media, period, where content creators are planning to catch a predator, and they are doing this in a way where they are setting up individuals and outing them? I've seen bigger streamers do this. I've even seen it kind of play out in some of the red pill spaces with like Myron, and they're running around slapping people and stuff and throwing stuff on them, humiliating these predators. What do people think about that? I wonder how people feel about that. Is that a good thing? Is that a negative thing? So we do have some comments in the chat. Gobbledygook, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Says no, the company threatened to sue if he returned. Oh, okay, I got that wrong. So he was getting threatened to sue if he returned. Interesting. Wow. He has a channel talking about what happened. It is interesting. So maybe we'll check that out on a later episode. Interesting. It's never a bad act to protect children. Yeah, I would agree. I think we should take whatever measures we can, but do it in a way where you don't get yourself jammed up for sure. Lionel, any thoughts? Are you still collecting your thoughts?
I just want to make sure I say this correctly.
Okay.
Because I gotta fly off topic now. I gotta go backwards now. Like we're in the movie Tenet.
We can always come back. I mean,
No, because so right now there's a tug of war right now because of law enforcement and because of the technological age of crimes, and so the legal system is going through this struggling process. And because this, it made me think of Blue Jay's question earlier about the prosecution situation.
mhm,
And we had the Operation Relentless Justice back in December, where the FBI was able to get almost 300 arrests and recover 205 victims in just 2 weeks. We have scenarios like that in place.
mhm,
Um, as of this year, we know that federal courts have handed down several sentences, such as 27 years for the production of child sexual abuse material.
mhm,
And we know that in 2024, like legislation, they had mandated that tech companies report online enticement. And that had led to over a 300% increase in reports to the cyber sites that reports that, children are being exploited,
mhm.
which creates a large amount of evidence for potential prosecutions. But then you have the hurdles that are coming because while we are seeing arrests, we're also seeing more crimes being committed.
Mhm.
So the gap, so like the number of crimes being committed and the number of people convicting is completely widening because we're seeing more and more people trying to exploit children. And when I bring up a number like, so let's say the 2024 situation, if we're going to report something, we saw over 300% increase to reports showing that, hey, this sexual abuse material is being generated.
Mhm.
If I take you from 2012 to 2022 and tell you that there was a 105% conviction rate increase
Mhm.
or prosecuted rate, but then I tell you that between 2024 and 2025, child exploitation rose over 6,000%. You're seeing the numbers constantly wide as more and more is this happening. And it's not like this is by just one person. This is by a series of different individuals.
And yeah, and this series of individuals, they don't have a specific look. They're not assigned a specific gender, race, ethnicity. It's across the board.
And as of last year, they canceled the national law enforcement training on child exploitation. So that was axed. So investigators don't have the latest software skills to track AI predators. And then the funding for the internet crimes against children, another place y'all can look for data, by the way. Those task force, a lot of them been slashed in some regions. So the
Mhm.
people that are meant to stop this, they're cutting the funding for them or they're cutting the projects for them.
You reminded me of this story here. We talk about social media influencers. It might not be about the money and fame, man. It's a sickness that goes through these people. And this is one of the links you shared. Do you remember this story?
Yeah, at home. Woman searches boyfriend's phone and finds video of him raping her 2-year-old daughter.
Mm. A well-known social media influencer in Houston's custom car community has been arrested on disturbing charges involving a 2-year-old child. Victor L. Corey Paulette III, 40 years old, known online as Candy Redbeard, was arrested last week at a home in Porter after investigators said that they received video evidence of him of an assault involving a child. Paulette is now facing first-degree felony charges, including aggravated sexual assault of a child and promotion of child pornography, and is held without bond. Authorities say the case has began when a family member found the video while looking through Paulette's phone after becoming intoxicated and falling asleep. The woman told investigators that she felt something was wrong and opened the first video she saw, which was nearly 8 minutes long and recorded the previous morning. Following that discovery, she reported the footage to the investigators, who charged Paulette. Surveillance footage from the home porch shows officers arresting Paulette as a woman can be heard screaming in the background. Investigators also said evidence gathered during the investigation suggested that Paulette may have victimized other children. The victim's mother said she found the videos of her boyfriend's phone and reported them immediately. She described the emotional impact of the incident has had on her and her daughter. And this is a quote from her. "I just keep seeing the video over and over in my head," she said. I literally haven't been able to sleep, and I just been crying so much lately. She added that her 2-year-old daughter has become clingy and changed since the incident. "She's just a baby," the mother said. "Why would you do this to a baby? How can you do this to her?" The mother said that she has broken her lease and moved out of the home where the alleged assault had occurred and plans to seek therapy for both herself and her children. Paulette has a large following on social media, where he's known for his custom cars with iconic Houston-style modifications, including slabs, candy paint, and swangers. Thoughts on this?
I'm glad the parent took action when she found out. I'm glad she took action when she found out. Unfortunately, it happened. And I know she's going to blame herself. Obviously, it's his fault, but I know she's going to blame herself. But think about that. He looked at a 2-year-old and said, "Yummy." And it goes back to the data we was talking about all the predators that be targeting children under the age of 6. But what is the child supposed to say? The child can't process what happened.
The child's 2 years old, barely can say anything. Yeah.
Can't process what's happening.
Hence the clinginess, right? The pain, the need for something comforting that's not harmful. Can't speak much. Yeah. Wow. Reading that also made me think about how disruptive these things can be to the whole situation. Like this lady said, screw this lease. I gotta get out of here. This being in this house is gonna haunt me. It's gonna hurt my child. They discovered that he may have abused other children. We don't know who those children are. Probably other family members. I don't know if this is his kid or his girlfriend's kid, but either way, it's disgusting. Like it's just like, man, it's when these things happen, it doesn't just impact the victim, it impacts all parties involved, unfortunately. And these people just think they weren't going to get away with it. He did that the day before. Thank God, something in her spirit moved her to check his phone, because if she didn't, it'd probably be still happening to this day. She probably wouldn't even know. And then that baby's behavior would be getting labeled something else.
So I
Right.
need y'all. So I just want y'all to know that there's what they call a 50% rule. In substantiated child sexual abuse cases, approximately 50% of confirmed victims are under the age of 6. And you can find this at the Child Maltreatment Report. Out of the hundreds of thousands of unknown victims in the global databases, the NCMEC identifies that over 3,000 are infants or toddlers from the ages of 0 to 3. More than 20% of all child sexual abuse occurs before the child reaches their 8th birthday. And children aged 0 to 5 represent the single largest group of child maltreatment victims overall, accounting for roughly 27 to 30% of all reported cases of abuse and neglect. And also keep in mind, when it comes to this topic, there is a 90% statistic of underreported cases and a 40% of maltreatment in reporting cases from the people that actually are supposed to report the data to the proper authorities.
Yeah, I just looked up because while you're talking,
Mhm.
you reminded me there's different names for different types of pedophiles.
Yeah.
And I thought there was one for people who are attracted to children under the age of like 8 or 6, but that's just a pedophile. The other ones are, matter of fact, let me just share my screen. Um, you have I'm not gonna pronounce it. I think it's a an ethnophile, which is somebody who's attracted to like earlier adolescence. You have the hepphile, which is somebody who's attracted to 11 or 14-year-olds. They have a pedophilic disorder. That's just them in general. And then you have an actual pedophile, which is the adolescent child. But I thought there was another one with a P.
Pedophile.
Yeah, no. Like another word I was thinking. But maybe I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, so even in the study of people who are interested in sexual dynamics with children, there's different levels to it. This is where my brain goes. It's like, how the fuck do you get to this? Like, something has to be off in your brain. Like, there has to be some sort of like defect or some sort of fucking genome material, because how to me this is not a cultural thing. I don't think so. I mean, there's culture in it and how they operate, but I think that there's has to be something genetic to make you want to be a fucking pedophile, man. It has to.
You're saying that. And that's an interesting thing you just said, because the United States currently is the #1 payer globally for live streamed abuse of children.
Wait, what? Say that again.
The United States is currently the #1 payer globally for,
Payer. Okay.
for live streamed abuse of children. And a significant portion of the demand is for victims under the age of 6.
That's weird. Okay.
So in terms of cyber sex trafficking, US is the primary economic engine for it.
Hmm. I don't want to ask why, because we might have more resources to get. It might be a simple answer. I'm still stuck. I'm trying to figure out like what makes people tick to want to even do this. Like, and maybe there's some people are just born to be sadistic. I, I don't know, but I think what I think happens in a lot of these spaces when we have these conversations is that people say, "Well, that person was probably touched," which is true. These people probably did get abused at some point in time in their life, and they're continuing the cycle. But also, my thought is, what if they weren't? but they still have this level of illness.
And I wanted to say that earlier, because we do have that. That's unfortunately another blind spot that gets created because we think, hey, it probably happened to them. That's why they're doing it. And that's just
No,
not reality.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's any other. I feel like it's like any other disorder. Sometimes they can just naturally occur in someone. Like you can have somebody they had no sexual abuse history. They weren't inappropriate touch, but they still have this desire to be a pedophile, right? Where they want to engage in sexual activity with the child. Like, to me, I'm like, man, are we studying these people's brains when they die? Like, can we do some brain scans? Because there has to be something that just has them wired differently. Um, I don't know. I don't know. That's where my mind's going for today's episode. I'm like, that. What is that switch that makes them want to be interested in children? So, all right. What else?
There's not that they want to be, they are.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the
I,
thing.
I guess I'm not phrasing it correctly. They are. Yeah. And they're and not only are they, but they're acting on it, which also brings in another dynamic to this. Is there are people who are attracted to children, they're pedophiles, but they're not acting, right? So you have people who act on it, they put it into application, and you have people who don't. And that was one of my problems when I was listening to these damn streams where people were trying to put this accountability on these teenagers, these teenage girls. Is like, okay, so are you saying that you still have these thoughts but you're just not acting on them, and that's okay? And that 16-year-old girl needs to be more accountable for her quote unquote actions? That is fucking weird too. That's super weird to me. So just because you ain't acting on the pedophilic behavior, you're okay, and she needs to be more accountable for her actions. Yeah, do we have fast girls out here who want to wear shit that's short and tight and chase older boys? Yeah, it happened. We hear the stories all the time. When I was in high school, the older boys came and picked up the girls. Yep. Does that mean it was fucking right? No, it shouldn't have. They could have waited till they was 18, but they didn't. Again, I put the responsibility back on the men for not allowing that. That's like me saying, it's like me saying the story we just looked at. Well, that mom shouldn't have left her kid with that boy, that guy.
That's exactly what they would say.
Yeah.
That's what most guys end up saying.
Like, what? Like, if I'm dating you and you trust me, I would hope you trust me around your kid, but I can see why a lot of women wouldn't, because of shit like this ends up happening. So I don't know. That really pissed me off. And then I was getting smoked for for saying no. We gotta hold ourselves more accountable to not go try to have sex with a 16-year-old. And then they coming at me. I was like, this is fucking crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was in shock.
But that's just, unfortunately, that's normal conversation though.
That's
There's too many
wild to me,
guys
man.
that will there's
I
too
don't-
many guys that will defend pedophilia and it doesn't get called out enough.
I don't know, bro. That to me is strange. Even when I was younger, the like as an adult, the youngest girl that I dated was 19. I was 20. I think I was like 23, and that felt weird because she couldn't do the same shit that I could. She couldn't go to the bars, even though she would get in the bars, but she couldn't drink. Like, it was just weird. It was weird, and I dated that girl for 2 years till she turned 21. Like, literally, I broke up with her the day after she turned 21. Like, that was like that. I always felt like I was so much far more advanced than her, even though there was only like a 3-year difference. Was I 20? I was like 22, 23. But that did not feel right to me the whole time. I don't
How's
know.
the chat look?
Go ahead.
How's the chat look?
Let's see. We got some new people here. Lowe's in the building. What's up, Low? Let's see if we have any questions. Gobbledygook says, I like to ask Lionel, what does he do for his own mental health and stress, and any deleterious acts of his from his I can't even read from this to himself. So does this do anything to you as you kind of process and go through this? This is one of the questions I ask Lionel all the time because he is always talking about this. Go ahead.
Dang, am I always talking about? Maybe I am.
Yes, you are, Lionel.
Yeah,
Yes.
I am.
And the conversation will be about fucking a movie, and next thing you know, you're coming here. This is why Charles should be. It's like, God damn, like,
You're right.
come on.
I got my siblings doing it now.
Yeah, go
I built
ahead.
model kits. I built gunpla, coatable Kia, frame arms. I built model kits, and I watch gamer girls. So for me, it takes my mind off of it temporarily, and I get to put my mind in a whole different space. And again, I write books, so I also do that, and my mind be completely elsewhere. I'd be in a whole different omniverse when I'm in the writing zone. But then when I get out of the writing zone, it's like I'm automatically locked right back in. And I do talk about this a lot. So even if like my coworkers, they're bringing up some random stuff, all they got to do is say a trigger word, and I guarantee I'm about to bring up something about what's happening in real life.
Napstar says salutes to the Sugverse. I feel like that's one of those Napstar things where he's like, he's giving you big ups, but he's also taking a jab at the same time.
I don't feel that way. I appreciate it.
So you write books, you talk to people about this, you build model kits. That's how you take care of yourself.
Because again, I've been through this.
You've been through this.
Family members, they've been through this. Friends have been through this. And when you've been through this, you've been around people who openly tell you they want to harm you. When you just see that world, you do get, unfortunately, jaded from things. But I'm taking it and I just, I'm trying to help people, trying to create awareness. But in order to create awareness, I also have to be in it. So I have to be able to know what's happening. I have to still be able to go out and touch the streets and talk to the people.
Mm. As far as how to deal with this, Napstar suggests that you, for a starter, that you know who is around your kids at school, teachers, etc. Now, I'll say one thing about this that I've noticed recently. That is not as easy as it once used to be due to the heightened sensitivity around school shootings and things. It's not that easy for you just to get to know who's in that school building. Um, a lot of communities have pretty much disconnected a lot of the community from the school for safety's sakes.
We played a video of a guy. Remember
Mhm.
the predator? The dude was literally just invited, be a coach, and people trusted him. Meanwhile, he was bending over boys in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've gotten to such a low trust society that it's hard to even build those connections, even in smaller communities. I live in the community I live in. I live in a suburb. It's not that big, but a lot of the folks who work in the school district also live in this community. And I don't know all those damn people. I don't, and I can't. And I know some, but if let's say if I wanted to go to my kid's school tomorrow just to go to the office and ask some questions, they would not let me in the building. They wouldn't let me in the building. So it's not as easy as you think. I wish it was. Let's see. Urban says, this is where science and religion / spirituality intertwine. This is where it may be something demonic in play to influence the thought process of these predators. I think that is a huge part of this, honestly. I think that there's something cognitively going on, but then there's definitely a demonic spirit. Absolutely. So, any other thoughts on that? Or anything you want to bring up as we kind of round up the show
was
here?
right about that too, because yeah, you know, I would drown myself in anime also. Although not to sound funny, but sometimes I'll be questioning certain things in anime. And in terms of WWE, right now I have a love and hate relationship with it. But it does keep my mind off of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what else do we got on Discord?
All right. So the next up, you have a series of images from.
Oh yeah. I gotta pull that one up personally. Hold up.
Yeah, I know we usually round the show out with some of the. It's about the trafficking. You want to do
Yeah.
that one? All right.
Hold on, let me go over there.
All right, folks. While Lionel's bringing it up, I want to remind people to take care of yourselves as we talk about these things. These are serious matters. We do like to take our time as we discuss this and keep this series going. Again, unfortunately, child sexual abuse is more common than you would like to think. It is happening all the time, all around the world, to people that you are close to, your neighbors, people who dwell around you, people who are in your family, unfortunately. This is not a show that's supposed to create any paranoia. This is a show that's hopefully creating some awareness to help you protect not only your children, but yourselves and your future. We talk a lot of stuff about legacy building and generational wealth and all this other nonsense. Meanwhile, our children are being abused in so many different ways. Do we even care about our children? That is the question.
I'm ready.
All right. And as a lot of you know, we see it in the comments after the show ends. We see it for the folks who come to the live show. A lot of people that we know in these spaces have been abused themselves, unfortunately. And my hope is that they get all the assistance they need from a spiritual to a psychological standpoint to just general support to deal with some of the pain that they've experienced in this sick world that we live in. So, all right, Leno, I'm going to bring up the first image and then I'm going to let you take it away, sir.
Realize,
Yep,
oh,
go
go
for
ahead.
it. I was going to say this is the one you want to start with, but go ahead.
Yeah. Realizing just how common child sex trafficking is across the nation is truly stunning. It's alarming, Melissa Snow, the executive director of child sex trafficking programs at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, told Spotlight. Every state, every territory across the United States, this is really happening in every community, big cities, small cities, rural communities, suburbs. There's really no community that's exempt from this crime, she said. Ori's breakthrough came after she was arrested and placed in a special group home. At 15, I arrived at a group home that starts to plant seeds of love in my life, consistency, stability, opportunity, she said. I had literally got this tattoo. They call it branding, a tattoo of my trafficker's name on my neck at 12 years old, Ori told us, pointing to the spot on her neck where the tattoo, which has since been removed by laser treatment, once was. I was 11 years old, fearless, because I had nothing to fear. Ori Freeman told Spotlight on America, shaking her head as she remembered that difficult time. When you 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and you being raped every night, what you scared of? Death? It's knocking at your door every day. I was running from the fact that my home wasn't safe, she said. A friend introduced her to a man who became her trafficker. She confided in him all she'd been through before he turned her on, forcing her onto the streets that very first night. Spotlight on America talks exclusively with a teen survivor who was first trafficked at age 11 as we had investigated this dark and complicated world. On the outside, Ori Freeman looked like a happy child, but that sweet smile on her face at age 11 defies the trauma she was experiencing in her young life. Children and teens who run away from home are among those at the highest risk of being targeted by human traffickers. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reports 1 in 7 runaways is likely to become a victim of sex trafficking. And that's just a picture of her.
Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, again, these things are happening to children, all ages. I mean, just children, period. I mean, I don't want to say, be careful when your kid goes to middle school. It might be too late, unfortunately. From from conception till 18, our kids are in danger. I mean, they're in danger. And I mean, just in the 6 episodes, we've damn near covered every racial category we can have. It's not about any particular color. It's not about any particular ethnicity. This is a illness, a sickness that is through so many different people, man. It's unfortunate, and it ain't about just girls either. We've covered a ton of stories of little boys who've also been victimized as well. Now, before we close out, I'm gonna put you on the spotlight just a little bit. Because this is always a reminder, and maybe this is just me, but now that I'm like super aware because of you, I always think about kindness as a weapon. Can you talk a little bit about that? I might ask you to do this every episode because I really want people to understand because how that is used by these people. Because there are people who are nice, there are good people in this world, but there are also predators, and you might not be able to tell the difference. So can you talk a little bit about how kindness is used as a weapon?
I know it rubs people the wrong way when they hear stuff like that, honestly, but that's exactly what it is. When you asked me a question the other one of the shows, you asked when I think of a child predator, what do I think about? I told you, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood or Barney and Friends. Now Barney might make people laugh, but I'm dead serious. He's going around. Both of them, they're very soft with how they talk. They're here with the open arms. Shoot, Steve from Blue's Clues. It's another one that comes to my mind. I'm not saying that they are, don't get me wrong, but I am saying that's the image that's in my head because they're kind and everyone around them thinks that they're nice. You are vulnerable, you lower your guards, you're ultra accepting of that situation. You are accepting to put your kids in that environment so they can be around them. That's literally perfect for a predator because they have already convinced you as the parent, you as the adult, to believe them before you believe your own child or believe that child. They are literally the ones that are opening the door for the lady, helping grandma across the street. They're the ones that's giving you, they're the nice people. They're the ones that are literally manipulating the economic environment around them to trust them, to have faith in them, to believe in them. While they got some 2-year-old little boy in the attic. That's how bad it is because they are methodical tacticians and they use kindness. That is their strongest trait. Them being able to know how to manipulate emotions. And they quite literally use it. Because, remember, that one professor tried to say they don't have empathy. And I argued that. They have a master level of empathy.
Yep. Yeah, I think again we have to no, I wouldn't say we have to redo anything. We have to adjust our worldviews, our lenses, how we see the world. Our worldview is your conception and perception of the world around you. And it's unfortunate that we have to do this, but it is a reality that we have to see the world as well, we have to see people in the world as they're attempting to take advantage of any situation given to us, whether that's friendships, relationships, protecting your children. Everybody's got an angle, unfortunately. Now, that doesn't mean that there's no good people out here, but you do have to have your guard up. You have to be careful because everybody needs something. Everybody wants something from you. And if you are somebody who's got something, please believe they're going to ask. And you need to take care of yourself to the best of your ability. And your children are vulnerable because they don't know how to read these signs. So if you get good at reading these signs, you can train and cultivate your children to do the same thing. And unfortunately, most people don't do that. So our kids are left with a little bit of skills, not a lot of emotional intelligence, and they're vulnerable with these assassins. These predators are assassins, bro. They are well trained. Um, it's beyond grooming. These people know they got tactics, they got plays, they got support, they got communication channels and networks.
Yep.
These people are operating, man. And I say that because I'm in disbelief because this shit has been going on for so long and it's just so sophisticated that it scares me because it's like as a dad, what the hell can I do to even stop? It seems bigger than me. You know what I'm saying?
Predators rely on being liked more than they rely on being hidden. And I need you to know that criminology even teaches that.
That's interesting.
Hence why I say it. Niceness is a tool, not a character trait. They systematically uses this. They utilize this. This is their greatest tool.
Fascinating.
These are not the people you think hiding in the shadows. They are literally in plain sight. They're Jason Bourne. They're literally in front of you, but they're invisible.
Wow. And with that, I think that's a good place to end this for today. We will be back in probably a week or so with a follow-up episode. I think we're going to dive into some of the Jeffrey Epstein pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Now that a lot of that conversation has died down, I think it's good for us to dive back into it because people aren't really talking about the child sexual abuse piece. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that? I thought that was weird. I thought that was weird. There was a lot of shit in there, a lot of photos. And I didn't see a lot of people discussing this, man. It was interesting. But yeah, final thoughts from you. Anything else from you before we close out? I want to make sure we get your voice in here.
I appreciate you for having me up as usual. Everyone, we are not here to scare y'all. I mean, he gave you a whole monologue earlier. We're here to bring awareness. And we're here to, again, hopefully us sharing this makes you want to share this with other people. If you want to tell your story, if you want to bring data for us to bring out or enlighten us, absolutely, I am welcome to it. We are not 100% correct, but at the same time, we are trying to build a community of awareness so we can constantly push this out because this isn't a one-time conversation. It shouldn't be a one-time conversation. And unfortunately, we have a lot more coming. And I got to say it that way because this is global. This is large scale. And just when you think, yo, we're doing a better job at catching these people, it flips. And you realize the predators and the perpetrators are just growing. There's so many blind spots that we have been taught to exist in. And so we don't see the reality. And we have to start seeing the reality because, again, the children need us. Your children needs you. And it shouldn't just stop at that.
And that's going to do it for us today. As always, take care of yourself. Again, these videos are doing pretty well with the numbers, which means that the awareness is spreading. And with that, we want to make sure people are taking the best possible care of themselves. If you or someone you know has been a victim of sexual assault and you need someone to talk to, some information or some help, feel free to reach out to RAIN. The National Sexual Assault Hotline number is 1-800-656-HOPE. That's 1-800-656-HOPE. HOPE is 4673. Go ahead and check that out and take care of yourselves. We'll be back soon. Pay attention to your surroundings. There's a lot of stuff happening. So with that, folks, we want to wish you all well and be good to yourself. Be safe, be constructive, be well. Peace.